there, Taurus. Welcome to a mid-May 2025 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Okay. I'm using this deck. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's my latest deck that I got. But it's kind of hippie-ish in the 60s, kind of groovy. Wow. First three cards are all major arcana. Are you kidding? I don't usually wear my glasses when I'm doing this, but it's like, did I see that correctly? Okay, picking an additional card because it's kind of ambiguous. Putting these cards aside. The heart of the matter is the Temperance card. Temperance card is connected to Sagittarius, but I've often thought it should be connected to like Libra because it implies the need for balance. And really what the symbol, this deck really follows Rider-Waite pretty faithfully. And the angel has one foot on the rock and one foot in the water. The water represents the spiritual, the rock represents the earth, the Taurian elemental. That is the world or the material energy versus the spiritual energy. And that is what people are doing. I still don't, I can't remember. Somebody wrote to me and told me what those cups led. That kind of reminds me of Aquarius, why they have them like going from one to the other. But I forgot what that means. But the point is that there's an importance in balancing or integrating both of these energies so that a person is not too immersed in one versus the other. For Taurus, for instance, you're more likely to be concerned about the material side of life, what is happening there. And you might neglect your spiritual side, not that you wouldn't go to church or practice yoga or whatever you do, but really like give it the same kind of consideration or importance because you're so consumed by what is in front of you, and the danger of that is that even the decisions that people make can be informed by, oh my gosh, well, am I going to make as much money? If because there's actually the card I was supposed to leave on Two of Pentacles could be like even working two jobs or something like that, or choosing between two jobs. And sometimes people choose something based on just the financial angle instead of thinking like, oh, am I going to be happy here? Is it really what I like to do? That sort of thing. So it can kind of sometimes make a person choose things for the wrong reasons. Let's put it that way. But it could simply be that you're dealing with a Sagittarian or something along those lines. The past position is the Chariot card. This is a card that is about being in control of your situation. This is a card that is connected to success. It's connected to the sign of Cancer. So maybe you're choosing between people of those two signs. If there are any people like that, you're choosing between a Sagittarian and a Cancer, please let me know, because it's always like, these are two so different types of people that it would be really wild if that was happening. But, sometimes a person has success in a kind of like a worldly sense, and they're still not happy. And it's like, what happens usually is, especially for like a Taurus type of person, especially if I have Mars in Taurus, is doubling down. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to get really happy because I'm going to make even more money, and then I'll really be happy. And that's what's missing. And they kind of like double down and they go in the wrong direction. So the point is that success the term success is relative. You can have success at something that maybe when you think about it, you really didn't even want in the first place. It's just something that you thought you wanted. So, yeah. And the higher message, yeah, this really kind of nails it, I think. And I have Taurus rising, so I know about the transits of Taurus, what is happening right now for Taurus, like with well, what has been, the individual chart is going to vary because, like, um, we have had we've had like Neptune and Saturn in the 11th house in Pisces. But for instance, in my chart, I have some of Aries in the 11th house too. So it's not going anywhere this year. Those two planets, even though, and Saturn's going into Aries in a few weeks. So some of you are probably the same way. And therefore, you're going to like making your dreams come true, which is what the 11th house can represent. There's still, if you haven't felt that you've done that, there still is the opportunity. And there might even be a greater sense of urgency now that we're moving into a new sign. So I did get this star card reversed. And it's interesting because the star card actually is connected to Aquarius, which rules the 11th house. So it's upside down. So it could be that your dreams have been deferred. And I think that if I had to interpret that based on my own life, for instance, I would say that you probably have been imbalanced in what you have been concerning yourself with. And you also, with the Chariot, maybe success has been, well, I will say one thing that's very important about the Chariot, because it's related to Cancer. We have had like an extended period of time with Mars in Cancer and Leo. And these, when you have personal planets that are retrograding, and they can really create a lot of issues for moving forward with Mars, with that planet in particular. So it can simply be a delay. And it's not, I think that's really what this means, because this is the spiritual message. So it's like all of those things that you have wished for, wished on a star for, they are not necessarily gone because you haven't experienced them in the timeline, in the time frame that you have wanted. And also, another thing I would say about this is the star card is about faith in unseen forces. And Taurus is a sign that really thrives on tangible proof of things. So you may have a hard time believing that things are just going to happen. You might feel like you have to see it before you can believe it. And the late Wayne Dyer said, you have to believe it before you can see it. And that's kind of what the star card in reversed, I think, is showing, is that, you have to get back on track with that understanding. What crosses you is the Five of Swords, and this is a card. One of my books called this Empty Victory, and it jumped out at me because I usually don't interpret it like that. I usually interpret it as other people's opinions in the mix, and they can be from it could be covert sabotage. So it certainly could be true that this is the case, where, you want something, but you don't realize that there are people that are working against you or talking against you and poisoning the well. And also this could apply to one's love life, but I see it as empty victory in this, for some reason, in this case. That was what came to me, so I'm going to say it, because again, like with the Chariot, winning isn't everything if it's not meaningful to you. So it's important to keep that in mind with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, what you hope comes to fruition for you, is that it's going to be a difficult thing to feel victorious if you're doing something that really isn't aligned with you. And it's interesting because we're going to start having eclipses in 2026 that are in Aquarius, and I'm assuming also Leo, and that's going to hit the 10th house for Taurus. And especially, I think that's especially meaningful for Taurus rising. I don't know how many people are watching this for Taurus rising, because sometimes people ask me and I say, the tarot and astrology are different. This isn't, I talk about these transits, but it's not, the cards themselves are not necessarily for rising signs unless you really identify with your rising sign. And some people do. So anyway, that could be 2026 could be like a pivotal year for career matters. And now in the interim is a great time to really get straight on the things that you want to bring into your reality, because you have to have a vision for yourself. And if there are people that you feel are not trustworthy, that is very draining. So if you may even know who those people are that the Five of Swords represents. They may be crabs in a barrel trying to keep you down while you're trying to pursue your dreams. So don't let them do that. What's coming in is the Eight of Swords. This is a card of a person who feels trapped by their circumstances, trapped by I feel it's trapped by their programming that they have been indoctrinated with, but they have taken as their own as adults. So before you can really create for yourself and move into a new version of yourself, you have to feel free. And you have to free yourself from those self-limiting beliefs. And, there are different ways to do that. And you can, we have the internet is a wealth of information. The outcome is a Two of Pentacles. I really love this art for this particular card. Isn't that beautiful? Yin and Yang. And the yin and yang represent duality, of course, as the number 2 does. But you see how the bigger symbol is that sideways 8, which is the symbol of infinity, meaning that, these, I think in some cases, these dilemmas, these are never going to necessarily be resolved, that we're always going to have contrast. And people are looking for a heaven on earth, which is great. But I think that as long as we have a material world, we're always going to have contrast, because it's always going to teach us sometimes about what we don't want and things of that nature. So the Two of Pentacles can be that you're going to be very busy in the next, maybe even through the rest of the month. And certainly as you have your solar return, happy birthday to those people who are having birthdays in this time period. You may be getting more opportunities in your life, and you may be setting new goals for yourself. Maybe you're going to school and you're working. Maybe you're a stay-at-home parent who's taking on a part-time job. Who knows? But it can be a juggling act, and that's why they kind of show it like this. But I didn't feel like that was like kind of a definitive card to end with. So I picked a clarification card. I got the Nine of Pentacles. So this is a card of financial independence. And so if we go back to the Temperance card, it's about how do you get there or here from there. And maybe it's not about working 60 hours a week. Maybe it's something spiritual. Who knows? Maybe it's a different mindset. So it's something to think about because, yeah, and I think with the Eight of Swords, it's easy to feel trapped sometimes and feel like you are this juggler and feel like your dreams are deferred. But, maybe you have given up on your dreams because you're just trying to stay afloat. So, get creative about how you can um, accomplish both, how you can pay your bills, but you can also dream big. All right, Taurus, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Thanks for watching. Bye.